things that we're going to focus on tonight as you pull up my whiteboard. Corporate messaging versus field messaging. Corporate messaging versus field messaging. That's number one. Number two, seats versus products. If you are brand new here and you know nothing about INFINii, I'm going to tell you now, this is more of a training for people that are already know about INFINii, perhaps already have a position in INFINii. This coming Tuesday night, we will do a webinar specifically to present INFINii for those that you've never heard of what INFINii happens to be. Okay, so if you are brand spanking new, this may be a little bit over your head. It's not my intention to do that. Tuesday night is going to be a great night for you. And then we're going to talk about tonight in terms of our training is the number of products at the various subscription levels. What does all of that mean? Okay, so now let's start off with corporate messaging versus field messaging. And I want to go back real quickly to what we have been presenting. Give me a moment. What we have been presenting for the past few weeks based on the PowerPoint that the company had. Okay? All right? And much of our messaging about INFINii is and will continue to be about Springboard. Springboard. What is Springboard? A co-op style program that allows you to earn e-commerce profits from high margin products while a team of experts does the selling for you. Nothing about that has changed. I want you to hear this. Nothing about that has changed. Now, I will share with you. All right, so let's make sure we understand this. So this is what we've shared. Again, and this is really coming from the corporate PowerPoint that, right now it's a few weeks old. They've just redone some of the things. And then, our way of teaching and training and presenting it. So essentially what happens is you are a member of INFINii. And essentially we are able to participate in these co-ops where they have already gone out and they've researched products. They've negotiated with leading manufacturers. So these aren't products that they're bringing in from China having to brand. They're going to major brands, let's say like Mattel, as an example. Let's say with toys. You and I can't go and get a deal with Mattel. All right? We don't have enough volume ourselves. But remember the predecessor, DS Domination, just since about June, July-ish of last year, 2014, is when they started putting in their tracking. Now, earlier in the presentation, it showed that DS Domination was born in 2013, and over 2 years, there have been $2 billion in e-commerce sales, accounting for $380 million in profits. When I spoke with one of the owners, Kevin Okawana, and I said, how did you come up with that number? And he said, well, remember when we instituted the tracking? I said, well, wait a minute, that was last summer. That was summer 2014. He's like, yes, it's probably been a whole lot more than that. Based on the tracking since summer of 2014 is where the $2 billion in e-commerce sales comes from and the $380 million in profits. Okay, now, here's the thing that they recognize with DS Domination. They recognize that as successful as many have become with DS Domination, that there were a lot of people that were not successful due to things that were not necessarily in their control, perhaps out of their control. So I think of my buddy Lancelot down there in Jamaica, who has, just a huge heart. He was extremely persistent. And he had a very tough time in his eBay business. What would happen there is that it takes a lot longer for him to get his money out of PayPal than if he were in the U.S. It might take him a month to get his money out of PayPal. And you know how drop shipping works. Somebody buys the product from you, let's say on eBay, and then you have to turn around and go and buy that product from, however you source it, whether you source it from Amazon or Target or Walmart or whatever the company is that you source it from. So you found the product on Amazon for $20. You sold the product on eBay for $30. But when that customer bought it for $30, they don't care that Lancelot's in Jamaica and it's going to take him more than a month to get his money from PayPal. They want their product when? Now. And so you had a lot of people internationally that had a very tough time getting started in the e-commerce world. And even some folks that were, let's say, in the U.S. Dennis, I know you told me this early on. You had folks, Dennis down in Charlotte, you had folks that for whatever reason their eBay account just got shut down. And eBay never told them why, never told them how to rectify it. They said, your account shut down. That happened with my son. My son, just a few weeks ago, my son wanted to set up a different eBay account. He had been using my eBay account or my wife's eBay account, I forget which one. He wanted to set up his own eBay account. 24 hours later, his eBay account gets shut down. He calls them to find out, well, why did you shut down my eBay account? And they didn't tell him why. They never told him why. They just told him he can't have an eBay account. Okay? So those were the types of challenges that some people were running into. Were there folks, give me a moment, bear with me. Okay, were there folks like my buddy Matt McCormick that persevered, they were able to get through, go through all the training, and really build a solid e-commerce business? Matt's e-commerce business does about $100,000 a month in sales on Amazon. Okay, he's doing a lot of drop shipping. I think he's done a little fulfillment by Amazon, but primarily he's been doing a lot of drop shipping. Okay, and that has generated as much as $20,000 or more in a month in profits in his Amazon business. And then you've had my dear marketing buddy Aaron and Shara Andrews. And I Skyped Aaron the other day because I know Aaron's a big business builder, and this is a significant amount of money to have made. But I wanted to ask him, did you make a lot of that just because you're building a team, or did you also make a lot of that because of e-commerce? He said, yeah, I made a lot of money because of building a team, but I've also made a lot of money with e-commerce. And he went on to talk to me about how he's kind of addicted now to the e-commerce. And then you had people like he and Paris Witherspoon, $359,000. Now, I don't know how much of that was building the affiliate side of DS Domination versus building the e-commerce side of DS Domination. But I can tell you that the DS Domination compensation plan just really didn't lend itself to long-term business building. This is why when DS Domination launched in August of 2013, we were the biggest team in DS Domination. Okay, many of you were there with that first 24-hour marathon getting started with DS Domination. But it didn't take us long to figure out that the compensation model and the way that things were structured was not going to really allow us to build a long-term residual income with DS Domination. Why? Well, they had two monthly subscription products. One was $19.95 a month. The other one is $99.95 a month. And what we started to see is that as people started doing well in their e-commerce business and they've gone through that training, they didn't need any of that training anymore. This is before they put in some of the tracking systems. We started seeing people falling off, not because they weren't having success in their DS Domination or their e-commerce business. They started falling off because they had gone through the training. And there was nothing at the time to keep them paying the $19.95 a month or the $99.95 a month, so on and so forth. And that's why, from a promotional standpoint, we kind of cooled our promotion on DS Domination, okay? Because we didn't see DSD being the long-term network marketing component that we thought it was going to be. Now, INFINii is totally different. INFINii is totally different, and that's why you see us saying, hey, this is a home for those of us that want to build an MLM network marketing enterprise. Okay, now, give me just a moment. So what we started sharing, give me a moment. All right, so here's what we started sharing. Came from the PowerPoint that the company originally had, okay? And so we talked about, hey, there were 3 subscription levels. There's Prime, and in Prime you could generate up to 250% profit margins. And we were very careful to say, hey guys, don't go out and say returns. Don't go out and, this is not you're not buying shares of anything. Be very careful with that type of messaging. So we said 250% margin. But what do you think happened? What do you think happened when people saw this 250%? Did they say 250% profit margin, or did they say things like 250% return? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think people started doing in the? And you know it. You got some of the same promotional passive opportunities, passive income done right, passive, and that is just you're just begging for regulatory scrutiny, and not that we would be opposed to regulatory scrutiny, because when the regulators come, and they always come if you build anything of any significance, regulators are going to see ultimately millions of end user customers from Amazon and all the other platforms out there. By the way, Hitesh the other night, I think it was Wednesday night, talked about even INFINii's e-commerce, that ultimately, just like there's an Amazon, just like there's an eBay, there's going to be an INFINii, okay, our own e-commerce platform in time, okay? So you've got to understand, this is what we're going to talk about, corporate messaging versus field messaging. You've got to understand that the corporate has to have a message that when Mr. Regulator comes, it is a clean message. And what corporate realized is that this right here was going to cause problems, because people were out there, people were thinking that every product was going to be a 250% return, 250% interest, or 450% return, or 600% return. Now, first, no return, profit margin, but they've taken that completely out. You won't see anything going forward that even says profit margin on the corporate presentation material, okay? So that people don't screw it up. And believe me, people were already screwing that one up, all right? Now, one of the things that we've said is not every product in Prime is going to have that type of profit margin. There's going to be some products that will have a lower profit margin, but they move faster. And so when you're selecting those products that you want to purchase, you don't not only want to look at the potential profit, you want to see, well, how quickly does this move? And obviously, the sweet spot would be a product that has a good profit margin and it moves quickly, okay? All right, so no more up to 250, up to 450%, up to 600% margin. That's gone. Now, it doesn't mean that those products can't generate those types of profit margins, but you're not going to see that in the sales literature, okay? You've got to keep it clean. Now, let me go back for just a moment. Once upon a time, I was a part owner of a network marketing company, Zeke and Jerry Stewart, who are on the webinar. They were part owners with me. There were 5 of us. 3 of us were on the same page. 2 of us weren't, and the 2 that weren't destroyed the business. But in any event, we had a wellness product. It was a phenomenal wellness product, okay? And as much from a corporate standpoint as we wanted to share some of the testimonies that we knew of, my wife had a tremendous testimony from the wellness product. She had a almost raised Lazarus from the dead type of testimony, because the doctors thought this back in '06 that she was going to succumb. And we started taking these particular wellness products, and things completely turned around. Now, I'm a man of faith, so I know who did the healing, but I believe that he used certain people and some products to help bring about that miracle, is what it really was. And then just a few months after my wife escaped the jaws of death, we didn't think we could have any more children, and we were pregnant just a few months afterwards. Okay, so we had a raise Lazarus from the dead testimony, but I couldn't share that testimony from a corporate standpoint. There was a young lady that I'm aware of. She was 41, 42. She had complete hearing loss in one ear from the time that she was born. And she heard the message of the minerals and cleansing and things of that nature. She did a parasite cleanse. And all the money that she spent going to specialists trying to get that one ear to work, one parasite cleanse, ladies and gentlemen, and she was able to hear for the first time out of both ears for the first time ever. And she was 41 or she was 42. And this is I know this woman. I know this woman. But we couldn't share that particular messaging on anything that was corporate. Why? Because then if we had become big, unfortunately we never did, but if we had become big and Mr. Regulator had come, they would have cited us for making health claims. All right, so even though we knew people that were insulin-dependent diabetics that were no longer insulin-dependent diabetics, or we knew people that were taking high blood pressure medication that were no longer taking high blood pressure medication. From a corporate standpoint, that's not a message that we could deliver. We could say things like, hey, take this product if you want to maintain healthy blood sugars. We couldn't even say, hey, look, you got diabetes. Your blood sugar's too high, take this product. Because my brother-in-law took this product, or my sister-in-law took this product, or I took this product, and I was able to come off my medication. We couldn't say that. We couldn't say that. So there is a corporate messaging. There's a corporate messaging. Then there's field messaging. So let me tell you what our attorney told us. Our attorney told us, because we wanted to put that message on corporate. He said, you can't put that on your websites. Your websites have to be clean so that if and when Mr. Regulator comes, all he sees is your clean website. Now, this is what he said. This came from our attorney. And what I'm saying right now, this was not a conversation I had with High Test. I am not speaking for, I'm not corporate. I don't ever want to be corporate so that I can say what I need to say to our audience in the field. Compliant, but there's a different field message. It does need to be compliant. It does need to be compliant. That's my disclaimer. Than what may be a corporate message. So here's what the attorney said. Here's what our attorney said when we owned our network marketing company. He said, your corporate message has to be clean. The website has to be clean. The literature has to be clean. He said, now what happens in the field, people are going to do what people are going to do. They're going to tell the message in the field, meaning somebody's at a home party, and if their blood pressure has come down and they were able to stop taking blood pressure medication because they were taking the wellness product, they're going to say that. And people are going to get that message. But corporate can't say that. Corporate can't say that. Now, you still need to be compliant. Don't you go out talking about 250% ROIs. Don't do that. Don't go out talking about 450% ROIs. Don't do that. As a matter of fact, I won't even be saying up to 250% profit margins anymore. All right? And I'll show you how it now looks from a corporate standpoint. People can figure it out themselves. Okay? All right, so he said, that way, if there's ever an issue, what they're going to look at is, what's the corporate message? Let me give you another story. So I was a top producer with a company once upon a time called Financial Destination, and I was on the whatever the Grand Poobah board is, with the top leaders of the company and all that good stuff. And at that time, I had a really good relationship with the owner, and sometimes I would go to corporate and would be a part of some planning for the company and all this stuff. There was a gentleman that was out of Maryland who was a rogue rep, and he was leveraging the company's name for his own purposes. And he was getting people to make an investment into a real estate something, and he was using the company's name. And it turns out that he was running just a sham. Okay. Now, because he was using the company's name, Mr. Regulator came knocking on the company's door. And Mr. Regulator wanted to see all of corporate's messaging. They wanted access to the back office. They wanted any sales literature, what have you. Okay, because this dude who I think is either in jail or has done time, this dude was promoting some type of investment scheme, but he was using the name of Financial Destination. Financial Destination dealt with training on real estate investing and dealt with training on credit restoration and things of that nature. Okay. Well, it turns out that Mr. Regulator came. Mr. Regulator looked at corporate messaging and absolved the company. The company hadn't done anything wrong. This was just a bad rep. Obviously, the company terminated the rep, so on and so forth. So now, here's what's been happening. And I spoke with Hitesh, not a text, not email. He and I were on the phone. We spoke about this because he did a hangout a little more than a week ago. We sent that out to our audience in case you missed it. It was right before Thanksgiving. It was Wednesday night, and I'd already shut it down, and so I missed the hangout. So I watched the hangout, and when I watched the hangout, I heard different messages, and I wanted to understand, well, what does this mean? So we had a nice, a fairly lengthy conversation. He says, nothing has changed except we had to clean up some messaging. He said, we even had people that got in touch with our attorney, Kevin Thompson, basically saying, oh, now you've come over to the passive income side. Queen, unmute yourself. Yeah, this is what it tells me. So people actually reached out to attorney Kevin Thompson basically saying, well, now, you know, I'm glad to hear that you're now endorsing a passive income.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay.
Somebody reached out to the attorney talking about passive income, Queen.
Well, no. Kevin is like, no.
So there had to be some changes. So here are some of those changes, okay? Seats, no such thing anymore. We won't be talking about seats. Now, what have we done in our webinars? When we would talk about seats, what we would say is what you're really buying is the underlying product. This seat means you're buying units of this Spider-Man 4 puzzle, or you're buying units of this Disney Princess workbook, or you're buying units of this Spider-Man 4 board book set. Okay? So we were breaking that down in our trainings, but this was not broken down from a corporate standpoint. And so people were starting to equate buying seats almost like buying shares of something and an investment or what have you. So they got rid of seats, all right? No seats. What we're purchasing now is what we were all purchasing, but that messaging wasn't clear enough in the field, which is the underlying product. We're purchasing the underlying product. We're not purchasing seats anymore. We're simply purchasing the product, okay? All right? Corporate messaging may be slightly different than field messaging. Howbeit, field messaging still must be compliant. Okay? All right. So if you've been coming to our webinars, that's nothing new. We've been saying that. Now we just don't say seats anymore. Okay? All right. So we're simply talking about buying units or buying the underlying product, okay? Now, let's talk about a couple other things that have changed. Initially, what was going to happen is each subscription, whether it's the Prime $49.95 a month subscription, Surge $149.95 a month subscription, or Excel $399.95 a month subscription, okay? Now, mind you, on Wednesday, you heard Hitesh talk more about all the other stuff you get in the subscription. He didn't talk as much about Springboard. All right, Springboard hasn't gone anywhere. They wanted to basically water down the message just a little bit because some people were taking the message and they were basically promoting this as a passive income. All right. So now they will have to be stronger in the corporate message, because really Springboard is designed to springboard those that want to have an e-commerce business. That even if you don't have some of the issues like Lancelot in Jamaica had, or like Dennis had with some of his folks in Charlotte, where some of their accounts got shut down. If you were just starting an eBay account, and those of you that have an eBay account, you know this, it takes some time to ramp up. You can't make but so many listings with eBay initially. You're in what they call PayPal jail initially. It takes some time to ramp up. So let's say you wanted to be the next Queen Twitter who's doing multiple 5 figures a month in sales in her e-commerce business. Or let's say you want to be the next Matt McCormick, who's now doing 100,000 a month or more. Now, I don't know if that's every month, but at least at times in his e-commerce business. Okay. Well, you're not going to get there overnight, number one. And those first 90 days, there are some caps that you have to deal with. So Springboard allows you to be able to participate and leverage e-commerce and make profits during that 90-day period. Now, very clear, but very important that you get this. So what happens on my 91st day? Can I no longer participate in Springboard? Heavens no. Nobody ever said that. But you've got to understand corporate messaging. You've got to understand corporate messaging. Okay? You can participate in Springboard 91 days from now, 910 days from now, 9,769 days from now. But corporate messaging is going to be, hey, use this as a springboard, so that people aren't going out floating around spreadsheets as people have been doing, suggesting that hey, by being a springboarder alone, you're going to be at $10,000 a month by this time if you scale up. Now, what we've said in our webinars is, don't expect to make 10 grand a month being a springboarder alone. Don't expect to be Matt McCormick making $20,000 a month from springboarding alone. We've also said, I'm not the e-commerce dude. I don't like sitting down and making listings. So my extent of INFINii will probably be Springboard. Or if they have a Springboard 2 or Springboard 3 or what have you. All right. I'm not making listings on eBay. I already told you that. I told you I've made one listing in my entire DS Domination career, and we've done very well building the business side. I made one listing, that cast iron skillet. It sold in 4 days. When I saw that happen, I said, well, then my average person can do this. I ain't going to do it because I don't like it. And I'm at a point in my life where I don't want to do anything now unless I like it or I love it or it gets me to where I want to be. Now, my son likes it. My wife likes it. I don't. So I am probably the eternal springboarder. Okay? Well, you heard corporate messaging talking about 90 days. Springboard, that doesn't mean that you can't springboard after 90 days. You have to understand the difference between corporate messaging and field messaging. So now we will be saying Springboard is designed for you to springboard. For those of you that want to be Matt, this is a way for you to springboard. And for those of you that just want to leverage Springboard, for 91st day, 910th day, 9,100, whatever, participate in Springboard. Okay? So there is no limit, there is no cap, there is no after 90 days you can't participate in Springboard. Some people took that from the corporate messaging, but that is not what, that was corporate messaging. Corporate messaging did not say you can't participate. As a matter of fact, one of the gentlemen, I think there's John and then there's the other dude. The dude that's got who does his hangout from his home gym, okay? The old school network marketing dude who's not an internet marketer, that dude. He even came back and said, now, Hitesh, does it mean that you can only participate in Springboard the first 90 days? That there's no limit to the time frame? And Hitesh came back and said, no, there's no limit. But you got to understand corporate messaging. Okay? All right. All right. Now let's talk about this one. All right? We'll talk about the seats versus products. The seats versus products, and I'm going to commingle that with number 3. Okay? All right? The seats versus products. Okay, so here's where we were previously. Where we were previously was the seats, and with the $49.95 a month subscription, you could purchase 5 seats at a time. And with the $149.95 subscription, you could purchase 10 seats. And with the $399.95 a month subscription, you could purchase 20 seats. So I won't say his name. No, I will. It's not a problem. So one of my buddies, one of my analytical buddies, Joel, said, wait a minute. You know, I've done the math here. You know, if you were to do the math on this particular product here, when we were talking about the seats, there were 5,500 items that were ordered, divided amongst 250 seats. So that meant you would have had 22 units. So if you purchased this seat for $73, okay, you would have had 22 units. You would have had 22 units, okay? Now, we don't have seats anymore. We're simply purchasing the underlying product, okay? With the $49.95 a month subscription, you get 15 products that you can purchase. You still have to purchase the products, okay? So stick with me here. Stick with me here, all right? So $49.95, you get 15 products. I'm going to answer the question that I already know is probably popping up in the questions box. I can only buy 15 products? No, you can buy more, all right? But you get 15 products per month at $49.95. That doesn't mean you bought 15 products. That means you can now, above and beyond your $49.95 a month, you can buy 15 products. It could be one product out of 15 different categories. There's a Mattel toy product, and there's a kitchen product, and there's a home and garden product. You can buy one product of 15 different categories. You can buy 15 of one category or 15 of one product or what have you, okay? Now, can you buy more? The answer to that is yes, you can buy more. Yes, you can buy more, all right? What would happen is you would pay a small $2 per unit a management fee. Well, wait a minute. $2 per unit management fee? Well, let's go back. Let's go back and let's look at something in this presentation. What does this say right here? Purchase price is $1, fees and shipping, $5.98. Well, there was never a breakdown of any of those fees. It just says fees and shipping. What about this product here? Fees and shipping, $7.88. There was never a breakdown of, well, how much of that is shipping versus how much of that is fees, and is that fee all Amazon? Is that fee eBay? What is that fee? All right, right here, fees and shipping. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? All they've done is they've broken it down. Give me a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, give me just a moment. Give me just a moment. I'm on a webinar. What's up? Yeah. I've got her phone. Yeah, she's out of it right now anyway. I'll take her phone tomorrow. We'll see, but I'm on a webinar, son. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I have my wife's phone, so my son thought he was calling my wife so that he could check up on her. Okay, all right. All right, so now they break down the fees. Now, when I talked to Hitesh about the fees, what he said is, it obviously costs us to bring the products in and to warehouse them. So a person can buy more than 15 products with their Prime. They just with the $49.95 a month, we cover the fees for those first 15 products. Anything beyond that is going to be $2 per unit. So all that means, give me a moment, all that means is it. Okay, let's take a look at something here. All right, so this is coming from the new PowerPoint. All right, so here's a product that the unit cost is $8. Amazon and eBay fees are $8.59. Small management fee, that's not the $2 I was just talking about. All right, small management fee for them to sell it is 35 cents. All right, so if you do all the math here, let's do this real quickly. 8. It was a unit cost of $8. Amazon eBay fees of $8.59. A management fee of 35 cents. So $16.94 would be the cost of this particular product. Okay, it's selling now for $22.90. All right, so there's $5.96 worth of potential profit. Now, if I was looking at this, I probably would not want to pay an extra $2 for this particular product because it would eat into my profit margin a decent amount. But now, if I was looking at give me a moment, let me see, a product like this one. Okay, so let's say I've maxed out the number of products, the number of units that I can get for the month without having to pay an additional $2 per month fee. So I've maxed that out. All right, and I'm probably not going to be purchasing any more units until what? Until I'm selling some of the ones I already have. I'm going to tell you why that's going to be so important in just a few moments, okay? All right, so now let's take a look at this particular product. All right, this one is selling for $18.99. We've got unit cost of $3, Amazon eBay fees of $5, up to $8, management fee of 35 cents. So let's do the math on this one real quickly and see if this makes sense. All right, so on this one, okay, it's selling for $18.99. Subtract out the $3 unit cost, subtract out the $5 in Amazon and eBay fees, subtract out the 35 cents. I'm left with $10.64. Well, wait a minute. If I was over my limit for the month in terms of the number of units I can purchase before there is an additional $2 per unit of any of those additional units, well, hey, I can purchase this one easily for another $2 a unit because that still leaves me $8.64 worth of profit. Okay, $8.64 worth of profit. Well, let's see again. What was my total cost? It was $3 for the product, $5 for the fees and shipping, 35 cents for the management fee, and another $2 for my excess. So that was $10.35 that it cost me for that product, but I could generate $8.64 in profit. All right, that would still leave me, is that an 83.4% return? No. That would leave me a healthy profit margin. I'll let you figure that out, okay, what that means in terms of a profit margin percentage. So all this simply means is that instead of going in, and to me, this is better for the company so that people are not promoting it wrong, and it's better for the field. Here's why. I started to get this question when we would do our webinars. Hey, what happens if I buy a seat and my products don't move, or they don't move fast? Okay? Think this through. What happens if you bought a seat, in this example, where there were 22 units, and even though you had a healthy margin, a healthy profit margin, the products didn't move that fast. Now, what do you think? Non-mature people that maybe don't come to our webinars to get a more understand as you undertake an approach, people that don't have our portal where we will cover this type of stuff in tremendous detail. What do you think somebody would do if they got 22 units and only 3 of those units sold for the month? You tell in the questions box. You tell me a non-mature business person who bought in just into the hype, who bought into a passive income, something that somebody was promoting, that doesn't have an understand it as you undertake an approach. They've got 22 units and only 3 moved that month. What's going to happen in the questions box? What are people going to be doing, that non-mature person? Belly aching, crying, whining, all that kind of stuff. So now, look at this. Hey, you have Prime, you buy 15 products. Let those 15 products, or at least some of those products, move before you put out any more money. Does that make more business sense? Is that safer for a person that, particularly if they have limited means, instead of them going and buying a seat that maybe they can only afford one seat? Maybe they can only afford is one seat for $73, but now there is no diversification with that seat. It's all that one product. And what if that one product has a great profit margin, but it doesn't move? So now what you can do is you can say, at $49.95, I get 15 products I can buy without any excess $2 per unit fee. Let me buy my 15 products, and let's have them move. And maybe it doesn't mean you got to wait for all 15 of them to sell. Maybe you bought 15 products, and now you've got 5 or 6 to sell, and you take the profit from those 5 or 6, and now you go and you buy some more products, and you just pay more attention, adding the extra $2 per unit. If I'm only going to make $5 on the deal, I'm not wanting to pay $2 per unit for that product. So I'm not buying extra units of that product unless maybe it's just moving so fast. Excuse me. That could be the other caveat, obviously. Okay? Now, let me tell you what they did. That's huge. Before, if you were $49.95, you could only buy products in the $49.95 category. You couldn't buy products in the $149.95 a month category. You couldn't buy products in the $399.95 a month category. But guess what? Now this is what my understanding is after speaking with Hitesh, and it sounded like that this the other day. So if I'm wrong on this, it's because maybe I misunderstood something, or maybe there was another modification, which when anytime you're dealing with something new, you're going to have, slight modifications. But because of the growth, because of the excitement, because of all that stuff, and because people were saying stupid stuff that could get us in trouble, they had to change corporate messaging. Before, you weren't going to be able to buy certain products at $49.95 because you were $49.95 and not $149. Or you were $149 and not $399. Now you're going to be able to buy whatever products. Now he did say that what your purchase price at $49.95 will be higher than this person's purchase price at $149 and higher than this person's purchase price at $399.95. All right, so maybe I don't know what those numbers are going to be. I don't know, for instance, if this product would have been $1 at the $399.95, but would have been $1.25 at $149.95, and would have been $1.50 at $49.95. I don't know. We'll see that. We'll see that as we see the Springboards. I don't know. But what I want you to take away from that is you are not restricted now. I can only buy the $49.95 product. No, you can buy all the products. The pricing may be slightly different, and you'll just do the math. It's just math never lies. Numbers never lie. You'll simply do the math. You'll simply figure out, is there enough potential profit if this product moves for me to buy this product? It's just that simple. If you have gone over your 15 units for the month at $49.95, your 30 units for the month at $149.95, your free 60 units for the month at $399.95. Does that mean you can only buy 60 units? No. Does that mean you can only buy 30 units at the $149.95? No. Does that only mean you can buy 15 units at the $49.95? No. It means you can buy the 15 or the 30 or the 60 without there being an additional $2 management fee per unit. And that's not retroactive. That's not, hey, if you buy 61, now you're being charged $2 per unit times 61. No, you're being charged $2 times that one additional unit. So now this is safer for the field so that people don't go out and try to buy 10 seats of this product here, outlaying $730 for a product that may have a great profit margin, but it may not move quick enough so that you start to see that $730 coming back and then hopefully having some profits beyond that. Instead, a person says, ooh, I like this product. You know what? I'm going to buy 5. I can buy 30. I'm going to buy 5. Let's see if it moves. And let's buy, I got 30 because I'm at $149.95 without having to pay an extra $2. I'm going to buy 5 of this one, and I'm going to buy 2 of that one, and I'm going to buy 3 of that one, so on and so forth. I'm going to take a look at, yes, the potential margins there, but I'm also going to look at how quickly does it sell. And so I'm going to be able to mix and match, even if I have a smaller budget with which to mix and match. How many of you are happy you're on this webinar? How many of you are walking away saying, oh, that's what they meant? Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, how many of you, I want you to be honest with me, how many of you went to the webinar on Wednesday, you heard the messaging on Wednesday, and your head dropped because you thought, oh man, they switched up on me. And now that you understand this, you say, no, they didn't. Actually, they made it even better. How many of you are saying, I get it now. It's even better. Your head was all hung down. You had the gloomy. I understand. Because when I first saw the first hangout, not Wednesday, the week before, where the messaging started to be modified, I said, wait a minute. When it says I get to buy 15 at $49.95, I get to buy 15, is that 15 seats or is that 15 units? And I reached out to High Tech. She said it's 15 units. And I said, well, what do you mean by 15 units? Like 15 individual products? He said, yes, 15 individual products. I said, well, wait, hold, stop. That's not what I've been telling folks. And he said, hey, let's get on the horn, let's talk so you understand where we're going with this and why we're going this way with this. And that's when we got on the horn. And they said, hey, it's the same thing. People are going to be able to buy as many products as they want. Here's the difference. And then he told me about the messaging. He told me, Queen, about somebody reaching out to Kevin Thompson. Hey, Kevin Thompson, now you're one of us. You're a passive income promoter. Okay. All right. So, hold on for just a moment. I know that things are supposed to go live at 9 p.m. Eastern, and it's just after 9 p.m. Has it gone live yet? Not live yet? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So somebody asked, well, how many units are in a product? No. when I say unit, I'm talking about the individual product. So with the Spider-Man floor puzzle, okay, if you have $49.95 a month, you can buy 15 products, individual products. One floor puzzle is one unit. One floor puzzle is one product, okay? We'll interchange units and products, okay? You can buy 15 of these, or you can buy 3 of the Spider-Man floor puzzles and 2 of the Disney Princess workbooks. That gives you 5, and then 10 of the Spider-Man 4-board book sets, as an example, as you see these here. That would give you 15 products. Now, does it mean you are limited to only being able to buy 15? The answer to that is what? What's the answer to that? Talk to me. Are you limited to only being able to buy 15? No, you're not limited. If you're going to buy a 16th, you're at $49.95. If you're going to buy a 23rd, you're at $49.95. What is the additional fee per product when you're at $49.95? $2. So now, when you are looking, because numbers never lie, math never lies, when you're looking at the product selection, and let's say you've got the budget to buy more than 15. Maybe you bought the 15 initially and you've already moved some of those products, so you've seen some profit, so now you want to buy some more products so you can scale your Springboard business there, okay? What you're going to then do is you're simply going to do a little math. Does it make sense for me to add $2 per unit to this particular product? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Let's see. This one sells for $12. I can buy it for $3. $3. I've got a $5.45 fees from Amazon and eBay. That's now $8.45. I've got a management fee of 35 cents, just a regular management fee where they're selling the product. Okay, now that winds up being 3 and 5, 8.45. What is that? $8.70. It sells for $12. Do I want to pay an extra $2 when it only sells for $12 and I already have 8 and some change? So now my cost basis, my cost, shouldn't say cost basis, my cost would be over $10 a product. I'm going to pass on that one. Okay. But something like this one again, where even with adding the $2, I would still wind up with a very healthy profit margin. Yeah, I would definitely buy more of these, even above the amount that my subscription allows for, without the additional $2. And keep in mind, what it does is it disciplines the field so that the field doesn't think this is an investment, or let me go and borrow money, let me go and take money, bill money that I need. I need to pay my mortgage. I need to take care of regular bills. I'm not going to pay these bills, or I'm going to go out and borrow money, or I'm going to go out and get in a bunch of debt so that I can participate in Springboards. And I promise you that that's what some people were already looking to do, because how some people were out aggressively promoting it. As if, hey, you're going to get a 250% return, you're going to get a 450% return, you're going to get a 600% return. Will there be products that will have profit margins that will be high like that? Yes, but it won't be every one. And we've told you that. We told you from a spreadsheet we saw a product that the profit margin was 36%. Wasn't anything like 250 or 450 or 600, but it moved. And so now what you'll be able to do is, instead of locking up your Springboard budget for the month, locking all that up in just one product that may or may not move, and the potential of that disappointment, and the potential of folks going away with their head hung down and being sour because they got a product. I saw a product, when he showed me a spreadsheet, I saw a product that had a huge profit margin. But then I looked at the number of units that sold on Amazon each month. It wasn't that many. So if you had purchased a seat and that seat had several numbers of those units, it may have taken a while before all those units were sold. Now, you get to go in and say, I've got 15 products before I pay the extra $2. At $149.95, I've got 30 products before I pay the extra $2. At $399.95, I've got 60 products before I pay the extra $2. Let me start off with those products first. Does that make sense? Let me start off with those products first. Let's get some products sold. Now we get some products sold, we start seeing some profits. Now let's use profits to buy more products and cover the additional $2. Okay? Springboard is just as powerful. Actually, to me, it's even more powerful because we start to do away with that passive income element. Will there be some folks who will not promote INFINii because it's not passive income? Yes, there's going to be some folks, and I say good, because we don't want people out there talking about passive income or talking about ROI. We want to protect this goose that lays a golden egg. Will there be people that will use Springboard as a springboard and ultimately look to build out a stronger e-commerce business? Yes. And that's their intention. They want people to build out a larger e-commerce. They know not everybody's going to. Listen, I told High Test it. I talked to High Test. I'm not doing the e-commerce thing, man. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy sitting making listings. I don't enjoy it. I'm not doing it. I'm a springboarder. I'm a springboarder for life. I'm a springboarder for life. I am an eternal springboarder. 90 days from now, I'm a springboarder. 900 days from now, I'm a springboarder. 9,000 days from now, I'm a springboarder. At the same time, I want you to understand, don't expect to make $10,000 a month from springboarding. And if you've been coming to our webinars, we've told you that. We want those that want it. We want to have more Matt McCormicks and more Queen Twitters and some. I mean, there's a whole lot of you that are on the webinar. You know, I'd love to see. By the way, if you are very active in your e-commerce business, if you would in the questions box, let me know roughly what your monthly e-commerce sales are. I'm not asking for your profit. I'm asking for your sales. What's your monthly e-commerce sales looking like? We want those of you that want that. Not everybody wants that. I'm not willing to pay that price. Some of you are not willing to pay that price. We can be springboarders. See, Kyle's doing $20,000 a month in e-commerce sales. Now, I don't know exactly what that means for him in net profit, but he's doing $20,000 a month in e-commerce sales. Well, Kyle probably wants to scale that from 20 to 40 and 40 to 80. And so what INFINii does is it's the gateway. Springboard is the gateway into the e-commerce world as deep as you want to go into that world or as shallow as you want to be in that world. Okay? So I think I've hit on the major pieces. Queen, how about we open things up for optional Q&A. And if you've put in questions up to this point, you're going to have to enter those because we've had a lot of comments that have come through. Okay. Helgi, there is no, someone is saying, I'm assuming there is an upper limit to the number of products that you can purchase. No, I've asked that question. There is no limit to the number of products that you can purchase. You pay the extra $2 per unit. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Mike says you've done a bleep of a job. Mike, my mama might be on the webinar. I can't say what that bleep is. Thank you, sir. So when I'm saying I've not been able to pay for the membership yet, when will that be available? It's supposed to be available tonight, but I think by now we've probably figured out that sometimes timelines don't quite get met. I'd be surprised if timelines did get met. So, just like don't expect me to do a 30-minute webinar. I don't know that I've ever done a 30-minute webinar. I did a 30-minute sales video, and I was really proud of that, but I've never done a 30-minute webinar. Don't expect it. Don't ever come to my webinar expecting that I'm going to do a presentation webinar in 30 minutes. It ain't going to happen.
I think you did one 30-minute webinar.
Did I? Did I?
Yeah, you had something you had to do.
Oh, that's my story.
Long time ago.
Queen, that would be like me growing hair. That would mess up the story. Or that'd be like me going back to school and getting a degree. That would mess up the story.
But it was really a long time ago, okay?
All right, let's go to some questions, Queen. I see questions coming in, so let's go to some questions here.
All right. Okay, 9:16.
Dave Jones, if you buy units and those units sell pretty quickly, can you buy more of those units? Sure you can. Yeah, if they're available, sure you can.
Oh.
Max Phil, what is the $49.95 a month cover? They covered that a lot on the Hangout the other day. It's a lot of stuff that has to do with building out your e-commerce business. Let me see. Did I get screenshots of those? I got screenshots from the Hangout, but they were cruddy screenshots. Does anyone know? I'm not a Hangout person. I've never done a Hangout. I know there was a Hangout on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday? Or
yeah, it was two. It was one on Tuesday and one on Wednesday.
All right. When we go to INFINii Hangout, will we be able to go back to Tuesday's Hangout?
Oh yeah. All you have to do is click on the link, the same link that's in Facebook, and you can see both Hangouts. You click on the one for Tuesday night, and it'll take you to that Hangout. The one for and then click on the link for go to Facebook INFINIi's fan and Facebook page.
Okay, all right. So hold on. So the person who was asking what's in the subscriptions, you really want to go to the Tuesday night Hangout.
No, that was last night. He gave her the breakdown, isn't it?
I wasn't on last night. But
okay. So you saw Tuesdays or you saw last night?
I saw Tuesdays. I didn't see last night.
Okay.
And I know on Tuesday he went through that, and that's what also gave some people some concern, saying, "Hey, wait a minute, this sounds more e-commerce-y than what I was looking for. I was really just looking to do Springboard, and now they're talking about all this other stuff that deals with more e-commerce. It's a lot to the $49.95 and the $149.95 and the $399.95 than just the Springboards. But with our audience, we've been talking much about the Springboards because that's where I am, and that's where I believe a lot of our audience happens to be. So go to Facebook, go to the INFINii fan page, like the page, and do whatever Queen just said.
There are links for Tuesday and links for Wednesday also there. So just grab the link and go ahead and look at now Tuesday's webinar was like 3+ hours, I think, or 2.5 hours or something like that. The Hangout. Isaac said email him if you don't want to say out loud the products that Karen used.
I've got some on the way. I need them.
So
I ran out of them.
he wants to know about them. He doesn't he didn't just say, hey, look, we're glad Karen got them, but I want to know. Okay.
Yeah, Gail Robinson just brought up a great point that I
Yes.
neglected.
Will there
We're going to
be?
do this real quickly. Let me just hit this real quickly. Remember, you can, and some people will do this because some people are more engaged in their e-commerce business. You can buy the Springboard products, and you can actually have the Springboard products sent to you so that you can sell them in whatever platform you want to sell them on, whether that's online, offline, what have you. All right, and so in the new PowerPoint, they even show an example of a person that, the unit cost was $4, Amazon fee $7.42, management fee was $0, and the reason the management fee was $0 is because this person elected to sell the product themselves, and what they basically leveraged INFINii for was, here's a product that sells, all right, because INFINii has done that research, one. Two, they have negotiated to get a pricing that I probably couldn't get on my own because they have maybe a reseller arrangement with some big vendor out there, some big manufacturer or what have you. So even those of you that are engaged in your e-commerce business like Queen or like Kyle, who's doing multiple 5 figures a month in sales, a lot of those folks would a lot of those folks may actually choose to sell the products themselves. Thanks a lot, Gail. Another question, Queen?
Okay, so she also asked, will there be products added all month, or is the selection set for a particular month?
Great question. I don't have a great answer for you on that one. I'm assuming that when they have products, they're just going to list them. They're just going to post them, I would imagine. But I don't have a better answer for you than that. That's my conjecture. Uncle Roo, you like that big word for a college kick out?
Okay, now if let's say somebody does not pay for their invitation after they accepted it, does the line then move up?
Well, here's the thing. Excuse me. Here's the thing. In a binary, nobody is hurt, other than you don't make any money. Nobody is hurt if someone in the binary doesn't pay. Obviously, if you've got your left and your right leg, you got one person enrolled on the left, one person enrolled on the right. So that's important to make sure you got those two there. But let's say you've got somebody in your binary, and we're going to have people in the binary. Some of you have a binary that already have hundreds of people in your binary. Not everybody's going to pay. Right? That's not going to hurt you. Obviously, you didn't make the money and you didn't get the volume. In the personal enrollment tree, same thing. That's if John invited Susan, and John is in your personal enrollment tree, Susan is in your personal enrollment tree. John, for whatever reason, elects not to upgrade. He doesn't purchase, but Susan does. Susan is still in your personal enrollment tree. It doesn't matter what John did or didn't do. All right, so it's not going to have the same impact as it might have in some other compensation plans. Next question.
I'm not sure what this means, but can you talk about ideas to cover monthly fee or must be cover monthly fee?
We cover that in our portal. That's the purpose of our portal is to give more detailed training on those types of things. One thing I tell you is look at every way that you currently spend money. See where you have fat. All of us have fat. See where you have fat, trim the fat, and there's some additional revenue right there. Or not revenue, there's some additional cash flow. Look at every way you spend money. Every way you spend money. Every one of us have some fat. Trim the fat. Next question.
Once we purchase the units, how long do we have to wait for them to sell?
Until they sell. I don't mean to sound. I don't mean to
I know.
sound. I don't mean to sound like a smart aleck, but they sell when they sell. Some are going to sell faster than others. They sell when they sell. You'll know when they sell. In your back office, you'll see when they sell. Now, I don't know if that functionality will be available, right away. It's going to be available, whether it's available from day 1 or day 11, I don't know. And what you will see when you go in, at least what I saw on a spreadsheet, so I'm assuming that they're going to have this posted when you go in, and we'll know soon enough once we can pay. My understanding is that Springboard should be available. You'll be able to see how many units are selling, let's say, on Amazon. So if you see a product that's selling 300 units a month on Amazon, quick math, there's about 10 units a day selling. All right, now we may not be the only one that's selling that particular item. INFINii Springboard's not the only one that's selling that particular item. But if you know about 10 units of these sell a day, and you buy 2 or 3 of those, well, you've got probably a decent shot that you might sell those. If you see that 30 sell a day, 30 sell a month, that means 1 unit selling a month. Well, that's probably not even a product I'm interested in purchasing in Springboard unless it's a really high profit margin product, and I'm understanding that it may take a little bit longer for this particular unit to sell. Nobody can guarantee that it's going to sell. Obviously, the game plan is for it to sell. This is why we are paying the small management fee, so that we can employ the experts to get the product sold. But they can't guarantee it's going to sell tomorrow or next week or what have you. Okay. Next question. Which, by the way, Queen, is all the more reason why the modification, the movement away from seats, and you just purchasing the units, purchasing the underlying product, as many of those as you want to purchase, adding the $2 additional fee above and beyond your monthly subscription. Above and beyond the purchase price. That's why, to me, that's even better for the field.
Well, so there's another question with that. When you put it like that, Tilma, there's another question, because they were originally set it up so that a person who had the wherewithal to go in and purchase a whole lot of the inventory. It was set up originally so that a person who had the wherewithal to do that they couldn't do that and take away from other folks in the field. How are they stopping that from happening with the new way of doing things?
Because it doesn't make sense for me to go out and buy 300 units, 400 units, 500 units of a product when I haven't sold them. It makes a lot more sense for me to hit my cap. If I'm at $399.95, let me buy 60 units, all right, and let me sell the 60 units. If I go out and I'm foolish enough to outlay $5,000, $10,000 buying products, paying $2 above and beyond, because I bought 200 extra products and I hadn't sold anything, then I'm just an idiot. Don't do that. Yeah. Don't do that. So now what that means, because see, I promise you what would have happened if program is you would have had people saying, I'm going to buy 20 seats or 15 seats or what have you, okay? And I don't know how many units this is, let's say here with the 8,500 here. Give me a moment. All right, so on this example here, all right, this is 8,500 units divided by 175 seats. All right, so there was 48 units per, okay? 48 units per. All right, so what would have happened is you would have had some folks buying 10 or 15 seats, They would have bought. They bought 10 seats. They would have purchased 485 of these units. 485 of these units. Okay. Now, Queen, what if? And I don't know. I have no idea how many of these units sell each month. But 485 units is a lot of one product to have.
It is.
So why do that? Buy your 60. They sell, then buy some more. But let it be a smart business decision versus, oh, this is a profitable sunrise. This is Zeke Rewards. This is, no. This is better for the company, better for promotion, better for the field. Next question.
What happens if the product can't sell?
It can't sell. It doesn't sell.
Okay.
I don't mean to sound smart.
You know what? Let me just.
Go on, Queen.
There's always a possibility that something might not sell, or it won't sell very quickly. But they've done the research, and on the big A, basically when things sell, they sell. They sell, and they can sell a lot. Everything has its own season, time, or whatever in the whole commerce market, not just e-commerce, but just when people buy things. So, and then with it being e-commerce, though, it's always summer somewhere. It's always winter somewhere. It's always spring somewhere. And it's always summer somewhere. Fall somewhere. So you will always, everything has, even if it's seasonal, it's still selling somewhere. So most things, if they've done their research on Amazon on products, then more than likely they will move. And that's all we can say is more than likely they will move. Now, all of it is in how fast it generally moves and so forth. But the whole idea is that they've done the research and said, yes, these are moving products. Now, will they all always move? Maybe not. But they've done the research to make sure, try to make sure that they're buying products that are going to move and move quickly.
And let's remember now, we're not talking about some product that nobody's ever heard of. They're actually going to major manufacturers, and these are name brand, products. This isn't like my daddy. I love my dad. We call him Pops. This isn't like when I was growing up, and I wanted a pair of Nikes, and he would take me to a store called Pick and Pay, and they had Cougars. And I remember the lady, because I used to get picked on in school. I remember the lady on the commercial, ooh, Nikes. And they said, well, these aren't Nikes. She said, well, they look like Nikes. He would take me to Kmart, Queen. He would buy me, back then Adidas. You remember my Adidas? You remember that? Adidas had 3 stripes, but the Kmart brand had 4 stripes. My dad would buy me the Kmart brand. We're not talking about that.
All the kids knew the difference, right?
Yeah, everybody knew the difference, He was like, oh, hey, look, you got 1 more stripe. Well, I'm the one that got picked on when I got to school. We're talking about major brands, all right? We're talking about products that move. And listen at the question. We just had 2 of this. It's basically the same question. Someone said, well, what if the product doesn't move? Or how long is it going to take the product to move? All the more reason why getting rid of the seats and allowing people to simply go in and purchase the underlying product, mix and match based on their budget, and based on saying, you know what, I don't want to have all of my budget, my INFINii purchase budget tied into one product. Let me have this product here. I see what my margins are. I see how many units I normally sell a month. Let me have another of this product here. And now, instead of having to have 48 products with that particular example where we were talking about the seat, 48 of these, all right? Maybe you get 10. You see that the 10 are selling very quickly. Now you go and buy some more. And that's what we were seeing, Queen, before. People were starting to ask that question. So I love the fact that we're away from the seats. We're away from, some of the passive income promoters are probably not going to be here. Love you guys, but we love you from afar because we don't want you here messing this one up. Next question.
No, we don't.
Queen, let's give it 10 more minutes, okay?
Okay. How much should we plan on paying for our first 15 products if we're going with the Prime?
I don't know. I don't know what your budget is. I have no idea.
No, I mean if you were, the Prime product. Okay, basically you're still going to be only able to buy certain products in Prime, right?
No. My understanding is that there is no more categories where Prime can only buy this and Surge can only buy that. My understanding is no. What happens is Surge will have a slightly better price than Prime on that same product, and Excel will have the best pricing, but the categories, the class system is gone.
Okay. That's what I mean. That answer. I hope that answers the question. So you figure your own budget. That's number one, and then you decide on the products after you figure out what your budget is at any given time. Because once they sell, then you use your profits and do it again.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Exactly.
When you purchase the Excel package, do you get a total of 105 units? The 15, 30, 60 combined?
No, you get 60.
60, period. Okay.
Yes.
Is that at any given time or is that just during the month?
You get 60 for the month, and then anything above that is going to be $2 a unit.
Okay.
Let me not say month. Your billing cycle. It's going to be based on your billing cycle. So if you build on the third of the month, from the third of the month to your next billing, you get 60 units. Anything above that, you pay the extra $2.
You sell out, then you just sold.
Yeah, you're sold, and you're gonna buy some more products. So you're gonna pay the extra $2 because you're profitable. And Queen, the reality is, what some people will do is they'll say, okay, I've got 60, and if they sell 5, they're going to go and buy another 5. I mean, right now it's hard to give strategy until we see it in real life. I got it. I'm looking at the questions and trying to, Sure.
ask the questions they're asking out here. When you said another 10 minutes, that was 4 minutes ago?
Okay.
So we have 6 minutes.
Okay.
And if there is not an upper limit, then there is no 10,000 per month limit in Springboard earnings either.
Yeah, that would be a lot of product buying. I mean, I guess someone could do that, but we're not going to promote, and we're not going to even suggest on any of our presentations that a person is going to hit 10 grand a month being a Springboarder alone. Now, whether or not that could actually happen, I guess technically it could if there's no upper limit. But that's not anything that we're going to be promoting. And it's not anything we promoted up to this point. What we have said is we believe, and right now that's all we can go on because we haven't seen it, okay? We believe that Springboarders could allow people ultimately, could allow them to generate a few hundreds of dollars per month to a few thousands of dollars per month. Now, is that few thousand, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 8,000? I don't know. We'll see. I have no idea. But I definitely don't see springboarding as, hey, I want to make 20 grand a month. I'm going to do it as a springboarder. I don't think that's going to happen. I know you can make $20,000 a month if you want to build the networking side, because I've made 20 grand a month building networking marketing. I know you can do 20 grand a month if you do the e-commerce side, not because I've done it, but because people that I know, like Matt, have profited $20,000 a month, and it wasn't because he was just a springboarder. This guy spends several hours a day engaged in his Amazon e-commerce business. So, could someone make $10,000 if there's no upper limit? Obviously you're paying the extra couple dollars per unit. I guess conceivably, but it's not something that we're going to promote.